best-run municipalities in South Africa are all governed by the DA. DA mayors are working hard to protect residents from bad governance and mismanagement by getting the basics right, delivering better services and having zero tolerance for corruption. This is the DA difference. The next broadcast will start shortly. Follow us on social media for the latest in news and politics in South Africa. Like and follow our page on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram and X. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on anything. Be part of the conversation. Tell us what you think in the comment section. And please, like and share our videos with your friends and family. The next broadcast will start shortly. If you care about South Africa and want to make a positive difference, then join the DA. Visit our website at da.org.za for more information. Find out who represents you in your ward and district. Who are the DA mayors working for you in your town or city, and which MPs represent you and your causes in Parliament. On our website, you can learn more about our latest campaigns and how you can get involved. Join the Democratic Alliance to rescue South Africa. Become an activist, become a councillor, become a member of Parliament if you care about South Africa. Please visit donate.da.org.za. Donate to a cause you believe in. Donate to make a difference. Welcome to a broadcast of the Democratic Alliance. Did you know the Democratic Alliance is the stable anchor of the Government of National Unity? DA ministers and DA deputy ministers are getting things done with a special focus on job creation and economic growth, driving down the cost of living and placing the needs of the people first. Join the mission to rescue South Africa. The next broadcast will start shortly. Did you know the best-run municipalities in South Africa are all governed by the DA? DA mayors are working hard to protect residents from bad governance and mismanagement by getting the basics right, delivering better services and having zero tolerance for corruption. This is the DA difference. The next broadcast will start shortly. Follow us on social media for the latest in news and politics in South Africa. Like and follow our page on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram and X. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on anything. Be part of the conversation. Tell us what you think in the comment section. And please, like and share our videos with your friends and family. The next broadcast will start shortly. If you care about South Africa and want to make a positive difference, then join the DA. Visit our website at da.org.za for more information. Find out who represents you.
Scale. The goal is, by the end of this year, to have vaccinated 80% of the targeted herds and to have reduced the incidence of foot and mouth disease by 70%. We're confident now that we have the vaccines, excellent vaccines from Argentina, from Turkey, from Botswana, but also our own locally produced vaccines that for the first time are going to be rolled out in the field.
John, I'm sorry, I'm out of time. I'm going to cross over to...
Just a second, wait.
good evening, Molweni, and hello South Africa. Welcome to the DA's live SONA coverage. My name is Luyolo Mpiti, and of course today we just heard from the President deliver the State of the Nation address, the second State of the Nation address under the government of national unity.
Yeah, and my name is Nazli Sharif. Luyolo, that is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And the story is clear. The DA is winning in the GNU. If tonight is anything to go by, it is clear that the DA is in the driving seat of the GNU. The DA is focused on creating jobs, fighting crime, tackling corruption, as well as delivering basic services to communities across the country.
Now, Nazli, we also know that South Africa is going into the local government elections later on this year. But the main story here is we have 6 ministers, deputy ministers, working hard in the government of national unity, driving DA policy, making sure that there is clear blue water between us and those who don't represent what is best for South Africans.
100%. And this isn't just about promises, Luyolo. This is about real results. What it means when the DA has influence in government, we start seeing things happening and working on the ground. Please make sure you don't go anywhere, because we will have incredible guests joining our live broadcast, including ministers as well as the DA leader, John Steenhuisen. So make sure you don't go anywhere.
We are back, season 2.
Kicking off season 2.
Bigger and better. Since we started the podcast, we've reached over 5 million people.
5 million
Over
views.
5 million views. We're welcoming back the Minister of Education, Siviwe Kwambe. And we also have David Mania, who is the MEC of Education in the Western Cape. Welcome, David. The class of 2025, the highest matric pass rate ever, 88%.
I think teaching is a vocation, man. Being able to mold somebody's life and somebody's perspective and to teach is such an incredible job. And I just want to say to the teachers in South Africa, thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for building our country's future. We are not in the business of cutting ribbons. We're in the business of building futures.
The DA Podcast. Welcome back. We are now joined by the DA Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Leon Schreiber. Dr. Schreiber, we are standing outside the beautiful City Hall for the second SONA under the GNU government. How are you feeling tonight?
Well, let me say, first of all, from a Home Affairs perspective, that was a home run for us. A number of critical reforms that the President outlined there, which really positions Home Affairs now for a breakthrough year. If we run through a few of them, the introduction of digital identity, which brings your ID document onto your smartphone and make sure that you don't have all the reliance on paper documents and the queues and all the issues that people have. The scaling up of the electronic travel authorization, which cuts turnaround times on visa processing to 24 hours, as the President said, for tourists, but critically also enhances security because we get biometrics for every foreigner that enters South Africa. Then if you look at our project with the banks, expanding access to smart IDs and passports to bank branches all across the length and breadth of South Africa. Prioritizing funding for border management, a critical need in order for us to clamp down on illegality and illicit trade. And also finally, the public-private partnership to rebuild our 6 busiest land border posts. What a fantastic outcome. Home Affairs is ready to deliver.
No, I couldn't agree with you more.
Well, Dr. Schreiber, I mean, it was really interesting to hear from the President that indeed the DA is in the driving seat.
Yeah.
But what are some of the salient points that you are taking away tonight?
Well, I think if we speak about the Home Affairs agenda, as I say, I think think that's a home run, and we are fully aligned within the GNU on what needs to be done there, and I think that's a great outcome for the country. I think more broadly, the focus on the economy has been really fantastic. So the President speaks about the green shoots in our economy. Growth is up significantly, but we still have a long way to go. We've started to see unemployment ticking down, but again, a huge distance still to cover. But off the grey list, our credit rating is upgraded. We've started to see those reforms in electricity and logistics, where you're starting to embrace private concessions and cooperation, really starting to have an impact. So I think that was the most exciting part for the people of South Africa, because we know this country's biggest priority and the GNU's biggest priority is growing the economy and creating jobs. So I think in that assessment, we can see in the first 18 or 19 months of this government, we are on a different trajectory, a much better direction than we had before. Now it's a matter of really accelerating, bringing the urgency and delivering these reforms that will get our economy moving.
Yeah, that is incredible work, Dr. Schreiber. And we know the GNU, when people talk about the incredible work of the GNU, they always seem to speak about home affairs on the top of their list.
Who would have said that a few months or years ago?
I was just going to say, who would have thought that you could turn around a department in just 2 years, or at least on the beginning of it? Can you tell us what are some of your key wins that you have had in your department?
Well, I think the way we should look at it is to say we've come a huge distance in a short period of time, but we still have a long way to go. So we now have that springboard in place for a real big breakthrough in 2026. The foundation is really built on a number of key deliverables. We've issued more than 4 million smart IDs for the first time ever. The previous average sat at around 2.7 million. Huge increase in access for South Africans to those documents. We've cleared the visa backlog, which was a major issue over many years for people trying to invest and visit South Africa lawfully. We have invested in the Border Management Authority. We've brought order to the environment that wasn't there before, because you now have one coordinating structure. We've rolled out drones and body cameras to demonstrate
Turkey arriving after that, and then from next month 5 million from the other suppliers. So it's now about the distribution of them and the public-private partnership that's going to be needed to roll them out.
Thank you very much for your time.
Steenhuisen, good evening. Just give us an overview of your thoughts of the State of the Nation address today.
Well, I thought it was a solid speech. I think it was different to speeches in the past. There wasn't any fancy gimmicks or structuring. It got down to the brass tacks of what is wrong and what needs to be done. I think that it highlighted a lot of work that the DA has been doing in government. And I'm very proud of that. The digitalization, the digital IDs, the infrastructure stuff, the stuff on agricultural exports, all of those are a reflection of work that we've been doing in government. And I thought it was a solid speech, certainly a lot less flowery, a lot less bullet trains and the like than the previous years, and a real, I think, honest exposition of what's wrong in the country. It now comes down to implementation, and that's the thing. We need to now focus like a laser beam on implementing these things and going for growth in a big way.
All right, let's talk about, foot and mouth disease. Do you think that he explored that part and also gave much attention to it?
Yes, and I think we welcome the declaration of the state of disaster. I think that it's important because what it does is help us unlock the resources from other departments that we need, particularly SAPS, SANDF, traffic, to help us with managing animal movement control in the country. And I think those are fundamentally important going forward. So I'm really looking forward to greater cooperation in that regard. And of course, any extra funding that we can have for vaccine purchase and vaccine rollout is going to obviously be very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Wait. Huh?
I'm standing on the chairs, I've got eyes on and
Standing by.
standing on.
Sir, how are you?
Fine, thanks to you, Ginny. Well,
Thank you for joining
nice to see you.
me.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank
They'll
you.
come back to us just
Whenever you're ready, yeah.
I didn't notice.
Not too bad at night.
Yeah, it was good. It's a good speech, I thought.
There's lots of DA stuff in there.
Yeah, pretty solid, I thought.
Water, crime,
Local government, infrastructure, digitalization. Yeah.
Basically, all our stuff.
Yeah. State of disaster.
State of disaster.
And I'm glad he backed me on that as well.
Oh, he's there.
A bit of a double down waffle on the...
Yeah, that's what I've been saying as well.
Are we coming?
Wrapping up.
We got home. And you?
They're not gonna... How long can this
Back now with the DA, Minister of Basic Education, Minister Siviwe Gwagube. We are standing here outside the second SONA under the GNU. How are you feeling tonight?
No, feeling good. I think what really that came across for me is really the strong reforms that the DA has been driving in government, whether you are looking at the work that we've done in basic education, the focus on the foundations of learning, the focus on increasing STEM participation, the issue around skills, whether you're looking at home affairs, agriculture being one of the biggest growing portfolios. But these things are not by accident, you know, they are coming across because there's a dedication to be able to make sure that we are doing this in government. And that for me is the most important thing, because we say to South Africans that we want you to trust us with your vote, that we will go into this government, but when we do go in there, we're not going to get there and simply relax. We're going to go there and make sure that we really implement the things that we promised you when we were running for elections.
Absolutely.
Now, Siviwe, arguably you have one of the most difficult departments in the entire cabinet. What are some of the highlights that you can really draw out for us tonight, and particularly listening to what the president has said?
Yeah, look, firstly, I mean, great endorsement on his side for the foundations of learning. We've always said the focus or the obsession just on matric exams is, while we congratulate the class of 2025 is great, but ultimately matric exams are made in ECD centers. They're made in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 in the foundation phase. That's when you build a strong foundation of education. And so it was good to hear him say that. And of course, we support what he's said around the participation of maths and science. But I think also it's really important to perhaps to take a step back and reflect on some of the things that we have managed to do. We've really managed, we set a target of registering 10,000 ECD centers. We exceeded that way before time. We are over 12,000 ECD centers. We have entered into partnerships with the private sector to be able to essentially expand access. We've secured almost R500 million. That is going to be a blended financing model to add 1 million more places for children to be safe, to learn, and to be school ready.
Great stuff. Well done.
Yeah. So, Minister, we heard the President in the beginning of his speech speak about basic education and put a spotlight on the matric results being the highest it's ever been, and putting a keen focus on those previously disadvantaged schools that scored the most. What is your take on that?
One of the biggest, I think, untold stories in the country is the fact that, 66% of bachelor passes came from no-fee schools. So those are your quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools. That means to me that excellence doesn't live in a particular place. It says that talent, excellence lives in all parts of the country. However, what that also means is that we've got to intensify our efforts to support our children, particularly those who live in poor communities. Remember also what we are seeing is that there's a dependency on the social grant and the school performance, that there's a correlation there. Those children who are on the child protection grant, on the child social grant, are performing very well in school. So we're really quite pleased about the matric results of 2025. No pressure to the class of 2026, pressure. I think it's been a good SONA, and I think it was a good reflection of a government of national unity. What I really also enjoyed is that there wasn't there was collective responsibility for the things that didn't go well, some of the things that came out, things like some of the things that are coming out of the Mandlanga Commission and the like, and the commitment to rectify those things. But at the same time, there was also a good summation of what I think has been a coalition government, and that's what we wanted. We said we wanted a coalition government of partners, of people who are going to really push an agenda, and that agenda is growing South Africa, making sure that South Africa is a safer place and a great place for children to live and to learn.
Absolutely, 100%.
The pressure is indeed on for the new
class of
class.
2026.
So I'm telling you, it's quite crazy. But Siv, I think maybe just to the people at home, local government elections coming up, very important election that we have later on this year. What is some of your views and words to South Africans at home watching?
Look, for me, I think the biggest thing to South Africans is to say, use your voice, use the power of your voice. You have seen what you were able to do in 2024. In 2024, you were able to usher in a government, of a coalition government that is working for you. If anything is to go by tonight's speech, you can see the difference within the GNU. So I'm urging you to not stay at home, to be at home, to make sure that you go to the voting stations and you make your voice heard. Because when you do that, you have the power, you're using your power to change the trajectory of our country.
Siviwe, the Minister of Basic Education, joining us. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And of course, I'm sure all the grade 12s are watching at home and they'll be looking to see how it goes. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you have a lot of interviews to do. Really appreciate it. So there we have it. We've just heard from the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Gwagube, who was mentioned quite a number of times. Her department mentioned in the President's address earlier on today. Of course, she's been working on early childhood development and ensuring that early childhood development is at the forefront of education, focusing on young kids and developing them from an early stage, because we've seen numeracy and literacy are one of the key things we are performing badly in, and I think we've seen the Minister working quite hard to ensure that we change that and develop our kids in this country. So truly some amazing points that we've heard side. And of course, we heard from Dr. Leon Schreiber earlier on, who spoke about the importance of his job in Home Affairs, the changing of IDs and being able to access IDs from banks and the like. So there's a lot of work being done by DA ministers in this government of national unity. We've seen the president refer mostly to all the departments that the DA is currently leading. It shows us that indeed the DA is in the driving seat of this government of national unity. So, I mean, it's been an incredible night. We still have a number of people that we will be looking at interviewing. Some of our ministers will be coming through. We also have Nicholas Gottsel, who will be joining us later on from the National Council of Provinces, who will be telling us more of the DA's work in the National Council of Provinces. Well, John is probably around and moving, so I want us to catch up with him. So please, let's go see what John is up to.
We are now live with the DA leader and the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen. Leader, this is the second SONA from the GNU. How are you feeling tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was a much better speech than's been made in years previously. I think a lot less gimmicky, no tin swallows this year, a focus on brass tacks. I think a good announcements made on crime and the fight against gangsterism and drugs. These are essential. But I also like the really hard line on local government. I think many citizens across the country are facing the sharp edge of municipal failure. No water in their taps, no electricity in their homes, streets that are crumbling, municipal infrastructure that doesn't work. And I think they're tired of it. They want to have municipalities that work. And of course, the best way to get those is by voting for the DA. We send millions of rand to local government every year from national government. It comes back unspent or misspent. And I think that the announcements this evening around the ring fencing on water and electricity are welcome developments, because this means that that money generated from the sales in those will be plowed back into infrastructure. I think a lot of the speech tonight was also in line with what the DA's view has always been: get back to basics. Forget the bullet trains and all of the nice to haves. Get the basics right. Fighting crime, building infrastructure, ensuring that you have the platforms for economic growth and job creation. Those are absolutely essential. And I think those came through tonight. Where I would score the speech down this evening, I thought the part on BEE was very weak. I think all major economists concur that BEE in its current form is actually holding us back from economic development and is also not broad-based and not reaching people on the ground. Black unemployment has risen. Black poverty has risen. We need to have a new empowerment model that actually focuses on delivering on the ground and not making elites wealthy. And I would like to have seen a bit more of that this evening. So that's where I would mark the speech down this evening. I think if we want genuine empowerment in the country, we've got to find a way to ensure that it actually gets to the people on the ground who need the help, not fat cats and billionaires.
Now, John, we've seen that from the president's speech that the DA is indeed in the driving seat in the GNU. And he spoke a lot about expanding export markets, specifically around agriculture. Can you just give us your thoughts on that?
Well, of course. I mean, and then agriculture's had a great 2025. Q4 figures out, 7% up year on year, 10% increase in exports. We've been opening new markets in China, in the Philippines, in Thailand, and I've got a big announcement coming next week, which is going to really make people very excited. And I'm looking forward to that. We've obviously got a lot of work still to do to find those other markets around the world, and we've been focusing on and being on the hunt for where we can sell South African agricultural products. The more we sell overseas, the more expansion we have here, the more profitability, the more jobs we create, the more economic activity is generated, and the more revenues for South Africa. And that is so important for us to grow jobs here locally and to create economic stability in the country.
Now, Leader, the President also spoke about foot and mouth disease, and he spoke about ensuring that there's a centralized space where government gets the vaccines and then being distributed. And we know that you are putting everything into fighting foot and mouth disease. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I firstly welcome the state of disaster that's been declared. This will hopefully unlock resources now that we have haven't had to date, particularly when it comes to the issues around roadblocks and assistance with traffic. But I also am very glad that the President backed the strategy this evening to vaccinate the national herd. For the first time now, South Africa has a policy that is going and a pathway to becoming foot and mouth disease free. And that is through a rollout of vaccines across the country. We need 28 million vaccines. We're getting them now from different sources that we've never got before: Argentina, Turkey. We've broken the monopoly in the vaccine sector. We're allowed to import it from other areas as well now. And those millions of vaccines will go in the field. And if the private sector and the public sector work together, because we can't do this alone as government, we need private veterinarians, we need private animal health technicians and others to help us with that rollout. If we need that, if we can do that together, I'm confident this will be the last major outbreak of foot and mouth disease we ever have in the country.
Yeah. Now, Leader, I know that you are very much busy this evening. You have a lot of people to speak to, so I won't be selfish and keep you for too long. But you did speak in the beginning about local government. Now, as a Joburg resident who lives in Johannesburg, we personally haven't had water for 20 days. Okay. 20 days, Leader, so that is insane. No, listen, I had to come to Cape Town to shower. How crazy is that?
That just shows, isn't that the actual story there? Absolutely. Where the DA governs, things get done. Absolutely. Where the DA governs, you have water in your taps, you've got electricity in your homes, and you've got a government that's working with you, not against you. A government that takes investment in infrastructure seriously. And that really is the choice that lies before voters in this local government election coming at the end of the year. You can stay as you are for the rest of your life, or you can change to the DA.
Thank you so much, Leader, for your time. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back, South Africa. We are still live here where the President has just given his State of the Nation address, the second one under the Government of National Unity. Right now, I am joined by Nicholas Gotso, who is a member of the National Council of Provinces. Nicholas, it's really incredible to have you here. I mean, firstly, let me just start off. How are you feeling? What stood out? What was your feeling tonight?
Yeah, I think cautiously optimistic. Two things stood out for me. The first one, of course, was that the President announced his water task team. He's clearly very worried about Zille and Joburg. And now all of a sudden water is important. Secondly, the army deployment to the Cape Flats. And of course, we do welcome that. We think it's a necessary step to stabilize things, not as a permanent step, because what we really need to do is to fix SAPS. We need to make sure that the South African police services are able to arrest, to investigate, and to bring matters to court and then prosecute, because that's the only way in which we're going to fix the criminal justice system and, by implication, the crime problem. Now, there are a few issues, of course, and this is that we think that the President should have gone further, and he should have said that he is willing to expand on policing powers so that capable governments, such as the City of Cape Town and the Western Cape government, can help the police with their investigation, because they're capable, they have the resources, and they can help drive matters to fruition much sooner.
Well, I can agree with you there. Helen Zille is shaking things up in Johannesburg. And of course, as a Joburger, we are looking forward to seeing Helen. But Nicholas, something interesting that the President has mentioned, and I think you've touched on it, was the fact that the army is being deployed in the Western Cape and Gauteng. What does this mean for the people who live in these provinces?
Well, certainly. I mean, the one thing we hope it means is a little bit of a reprieve. In the Western Cape, in the past month, there was 345 murders. But every day, children on the Cape Flats are victims of stray bullets. Mothers are too scared to send their kids out even to play. And we see young lives lost far too often. So I think it's a little bit of a reprieve. But as I said, it doesn't fix everything else. It's a temporary measure, which we do welcome, but we have to look at the other measures as well. Now, one of the things that the president also said this evening was that there will be serious reforms. We all know what's going on in the Matlanga Commission. I think he's under a lot of pressure to say what is going to come of the Matlanga Commission, what are the recommendations going to mean. And the one thing he did say was that there will be vetting of all police officers and Metro police officers. Now, that will be very interesting because currently, very recently, we had the acting Minister of Police confirm that he agrees with the DA that we need to overhaul the SAPS disciplinary system. Now, this came on the back of us asking several questions about him the Western Cape Provincial Police Commissioner overriding dismissals of crooked and ill-disciplined cops. So it'll be very interesting to see whether there is some meat in this, because just on Friday I went to Athlone Police Station and I found a police officer working there who, according to SAPS and a parliamentary question, was fired in December.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think South Africans are worried about corrupt police officers. They are losing faith in police officers protecting them, because essentially you want to go to a police station, report a crime, and ensure that you get justice, right? And one of these things that you did was go to this police station and find this police officer who was supposedly dismissed.
Well, yes. So if there's one thing that any DA public rep knows, is that, as Helen Suzman said, go see for yourself. And sometimes we would like to believe, of course, that parliamentary questions are just that, honest reply to Parliament. But we had to go see for ourselves. And I rocked up there on Friday. And the next thing, the first person to help me in the charge office was this Officer Titsala. Now, Officer Titsala has a very long rap sheet of ill discipline. He has been reprimanded and given a suspension of 2 months 5 times, and these were for example, at some stage he was late for work and said he doesn't have to be on time. Another time he assaulted another officer, and then he was also found guilty for criminal injuria.
Well, Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us, and really all the best with all the work that you are doing serving South Africans. Please keep exposing them. We want them to be exposed. That is Nicholas Gotzel from the National Council of Provinces, sharing his view of what he thought of the President's State of the Nation address. Nicholas, thank you for being here with us. But as I've said, we have been speaking to a number of DA leaders and our ministers in the Government of National Unity. It's truly been interesting to hear the different views of tonight's State of the Nation address. But listen, one thing is clear. The DA is in the driving seat. The DA is shaping the policy in the Government of National Unity, ensuring that the DA's views, the DA's policies are finding way in government delivery. We will shortly now be joined by the Chief Whip of the National Assembly of the Democratic Alliance. Please step in, sir. George Mikalakis, thank you so much for joining us, the Chief Whip of the DA in the National Assembly. George, how are you feeling tonight? What stood out to you? What do you feel happened?
Well, I think it's no coincidence that the President was wearing a blue tie. I think a lot of the speech was very positive. I think a lot of it is going to come down to implementation thereof. There are still a few things that we would have really liked to see included, like the unbundling of BE in favour of a model that is a bit more broad-based and broader to the benefit of more South Africans. The unbundling of cadre deployment, concessions on rail and ports. I mean, the President mentioned this last year. We haven't really seen anything really rapidly happening. All of these factors play a role. Actually, Eskom's investment and concessions on the grid. he did welcome, or he did mention, at least with transmission, a few concessions. So that is welcomed. But I just had a question now: why is the economy not growing at the 3% that he said, or the 5%? Despite the fact that many DA policies found its way into the budget and into our finances, there are still so many things drawing the economy back that the DA is saying implement these things, and the economy will maybe get to the 3% that's happening. But there are also wonderful things that should be welcomed. Ironically, most of them in departments run by DA ministers. I mean, the state properties company in Mr. McPherson's department, the innovation that we saw coming in Home Affairs with regards to digital IDs and driver's licenses, which I'm particularly happy about, and matric certificates, and also then the declaration of a national state of disaster on foot and mouth disease that Minister Steenhuisen called for in January already. So in many of the DA departments, there are very, very positive things. I think there are two specific aspects, the first and the second ones that he mentioned, that are also very notable. The first one is with regards to policing. I think it is really wonderful that he acknowledged that there is a crisis. Extra boots on the ground, 5,000 is wonderful. Deploying the SANDF is wonderful, but these are short-term solutions. And for a longer-term solution, we are going to need to expand powers to provincial and local levels, especially so at local levels have more powers to investigate. And then the second one was water, which is at this point a crisis. Wonderful that the President announced that there will be incentives for ring fencing funds if municipalities, especially metros, actually spend money back into infrastructure. Also more accountability for municipal officials. All of that is welcome. But now the question is, why do people in DA municipalities have water? And it's not necessarily a systems problem. It is a problem of cadres being deployed in municipalities and incapable governments. So the answer to that is not going to lie at a State of the Nation address. The answer to that is ultimately going to lie at the ballot box in November, and actually voting for a party that can deliver and can actually run a municipality well. And the only party that can do that is the DA.
The DA indeed.
Yeah, and I'm back to Luyolo because I left you for a little
Welcome
bit, but
back.
now I'm back. Chief Whip, you so succinctly and beautifully put together what came out of SONA and what it actually means. But I want to know, as the Chief Whip of Parliament, how then do you hold the President and the departments accountable, and what will Parliament do in terms of that?
Well, I think, Nazli, it's important to note the speech happens in Parliament, in front of all the members of Parliament, for the simple reason that it is our job now to hold the President to account for the next year, and to actually make sure that the promises that he made tonight are delivered on. As I said earlier on, it sounds wonderful, and all the measures that he announced, many of them actually come from the DA's songbook, but a lot of it is going to come down to implementation, and that's where Parliament will ultimately feature. Parliament will make sure that what is promised is implemented by the departments. Where they don't implement it, to call those ministers and ask why it's not being implemented, and also to give praise where it will happen. I can already hear Leon Schreiber licking his lips to implement what was announced today, and the same with Dean McPherson. So I absolutely think that praise where praise is due will be necessary, but ultimately there's a reason why it happened in Parliament tonight, and that is because Parliament will scrutinise everything that doesn't happen that was promised tonight.
Yeah, and that we will do.
Well, George, we also heard the President speak about water. I mean, water is quite a big issue right now in the country. Particularly, we saw those press conferences taking place yesterday, one by the Mayor of Johannesburg, Tata Morera, but also another one taking place by Helen Zille, who was making very salient points. So a big issue that South Africans are facing right now.
Well, absolutely. I mean, both of you are from Gauteng. Johannesburg at this point is struggling without water. It's the biggest city in the country, and it could have been prevented if you had a government in place that could actually deliver. Just simply saying, well, I showered at a hotel is not going to bring a solution. You need competent people in place. You need people who have knowledge of how to turn a metro around, like our mayoral candidate Helen Zille does, but also you need to make sure that your municipality is run in an accountable way. So yes, those reforms are welcome, but if they're not going to be implemented by a DA government that actually is responsible with public funds, it's not going to help in the long run. So again, I say the solution does not lie in a State of the Nation address. The solution lies at the ballot box in November.
Yeah. Chief Whip, I want to ask around what the DA Parliamentary Caucus is going to get up to this year, and if there's anything coming that you would like to share with us today.
Well, I think there are many things lined up in Parliament that we already know about. We have this week met about the GBV task team. We are doing a lot of oversight on legislation and trying to get the economy going. We've got, in 2 weeks' time, we've got the budget. We've got the investigation from the Portfolio Committee on police. But ultimately, Nazli, there are 4 things I think that matter to South Africans. It is trying to cut down on corruption, or completely destroying corruption, making sure that we bring down crime, create jobs, and get the economy going, and ultimately making sure that service delivery is the quality that South Africans deserve. And everything that we do in Parliament this year will focus on those 4 things to ensure that people are safer, they've got jobs, they've got basic services, and that we are no longer as a country crippled under a corrupt regime.
I absolutely agree.
Well, that is the Chief Whip of the Democratic Alliance in the National Assembly, George Mikalakis. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.
And sharing some very important points about what we've just heard from the State of the Nation address.
Yeah, there you have it, South Africa. We have spoken to DA ministers, we have spoken to the DA leader, as well as the Chief Whip for the Democratic Alliance, and they have set it out clear. The Democratic Alliance is in the driving seat of this GNU, and we are winning within this GNU. We have MPs and ministers going out there every day making a difference so that we can feel it on the ground.
Well, I mean, I think to the people of Johannesburg, it's quite clear we have committed public representatives that are on the ground. Helen Ziller is raising a hand to be the mayor of Johannesburg. So a vote for the DA is a vote for water in your taps. It's a vote against showering in hotels.
In hotels, the audacity.
I mean, the audacity. Quite crazy that we are seeing that. So we are saying as the DA, we are ready to bring the change. The local government elections, Nazli, are coming up. And vote for the DA means water in your taps. It means electricity in your street lights.
Absolutely.
It means roads that are paved, no potholes. It means a lot of things.
It means a lot of things, Luyolo. And as Joburg residents, we have not had water for 20 days. And the audacity of the ANC government to tell us that they shower in hotels is insane. And we have to make sure, as voters in the country, that we use our power with our ballot, and we go out there when local government elections come, and we make a difference using our ballot. It is absolutely clear tonight, Luyolo, that where the DA is in government, even in the GNU, we make a difference.
Your ex next to the DA is the only vote that actually matters, a vote that will make sure that your family are secured. That's what I believe, that's what I vote for, and that's what I'll continue to vote for.
Absolutely.
Nazli, with that said, Nazli, I'd like to thank everybody watching at home. My name is Leon Mpiti.
I'm Nazli Sharif, shop and away.
I am a mother. I am a father. I'm a daughter. I am a son. I believe in freedom. Freedom to earn a living. Go where I want. Love who I want. Say what I believe and pursue my dreams. I am brave. I am a provider. I believe in fairness. A fairness where our achievements are determined by our choices and hard work. I am a leader. I believe in opportunity. A nation where opportunity is plentiful and everyone's rights are protected. I believe in diversity. every person has a unique perspective and an important role to play in building our nation. We do not judge each other by how we look, but by who we are. We are South Africans working together. We are the Democratic Alliance.
Thanks for watching. Join the mission to rescue South Africa. Like and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and X. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. Join the DA, because the DA gets things done.